Adelaide Hills. Thanks to Andy for putting this all together. Look, I've just got a 10-minute slot because Andy said, hey, we should talk at the conference, seeing as we're the guys that manage your accreditation, about VICs nationally. And I didn't want to go into how many VICs there are in every state and territory and all of that. What I was really interested in was the subject of VICs as a network and as a self-determined sort of group of very important entities in the tourism industry in South Australia that have some sort of representation, identity for themselves. Because, as you would know, we used to have the Working Party, the VIC Working Party. Then we're by the by, and we have the VIC and Industry Skills Group, which the SATC runs, but I think we all agree that that doesn't really serve the purposes of the VICs as a network. And SATIC filled the breach by having a VIC managers meeting, which we have 3 times a year, and we invite all managers to come along, because the old model was that a manager from each region would come in and, well, it was a bit unclear as to what their role was, whether they were actually a representative of the region or whether they represented their VIC, and their role as an amplifier and a communicator back to the other VICs in the region. It was never clear, so there are all these communications issues, and VIC managers, without putting too fine a point on it, blaming other VIC managers because they never got the information that came out of the group. So we wanted to get around all that. So what I decided to do was just have a VIC managers meeting, invite all those managers to attend who could, and generally we get over 50% of the VIC managers attending those meetings to talk about the issues, and then we just make sure that we had good communication around the fact the meeting was going to happen, what the issues were, and what was going to happen afterwards. And with our collective, and what we try to do is to present the issues of the VIC network to the Tourism Commission or government or whoever else in a measured, well thought out, responsible, productive, positive way, and give the SATC or anyone else the opportunity to come and have a conversation. And I think those meetings have worked quite well in and of themselves. The most recent one we had Adelaide Shores with Nick there. It's usually the Industry Council or some other body, an offshoot of the STO, but separate from the STO, that manages the accreditation, which is connected to the LOI. So STO owns the licence, industry body manages accreditation. The third element of all that is who actually manages the group as opposed to manage the accreditation, because the accreditation is the criteria, bench heights and all that stuff. Whereas the issues facing with VICs is usually the responsibility of something else or nothing, as the case may be, around the state. And that work, that extra work, which is a business plan, marketing plan, having a conference, having meetings, usually comes at a cost. And that cost is borne by the VICs, as is the cost of accreditation by the VICs in the other states and territories. South Australia, whereby the STO pays for your individual VIC's accreditation so that you can become yellow eyes, is pretty rare, as we're the only ones who STO pays. So VICs pay for their own accreditation to be a yellow eye. Having said that, the level of promotion of VICs in the other states is superior to what the SATC does, in as much as you go onto southaustralia.com or even separately on billboards or in brochures. And I have an example of sort of the stuff that other states do which promote the VICs as a network. So the quid pro quo is, you don't pay for accreditation. SATC does that. Those dynamics would completely change if you did pay to be a VIC individually, and then you go to the SATC and say, as the licence holder, we're paying you, why aren't you marketing us better? And that's the dynamic that works in the state. Right? So where we're going with all this is, SATIC is a body, we're a generalist industry council. We sit in the centre of the circle, and the things that we do are to all of the industry. So any operator anywhere in South Australia tourism can avail themselves of what we do. So we do accreditation, and so everyone, there's 600 and 50 businesses that are accredited, representing 800 products that are accredited that they pay for. Awards, everyone can go in the awards, no matter what state, sector, or what sector or region you're in, they pay for that. Training, and Andrew and Julie here, we work quite closely with Learning Potential International and others. We put training out there, MBA courses, whatever, and we try and avail them to all in the industry. It's when we come to work with particular regions or sectors where we have to go away from our generalist industry work and go and work in a particular sector, whether it be food and wine, or whether it be backpacking or something else. There's a whole separate resources that we have to take, because all my people at SATIC are, like the other TTC, wholly employed in what they're doing for the whole industry. So when they go off and do a separate sector thing or a regional thing, extra resources have to come into play. So, and the other thing is the meetings that we have around VICs, we do that not because we're funded to do so by the SATC. The accreditation for VICs is just part of the money we get for industry accreditation. We don't get VIC accreditation money. We used to in the old days of accreditation board, when it was just Ward running around visiting all the VICs. That doesn't happen anymore. We just get accreditation money that goes to the industry, for which we say, okay, VIC at the last meeting really liked it. They think it's a great thing. The training they've taken part of is really good. There's other VICs saying, we want to be a part of that. We should do more around sharing the learning about the VICs that do go through. And the SATC has a target that 75% of the VICs in this room will have been through the CLSA program after 3 years. So I don't know where we are with that. But what we have to consider as a group of VICs is, are you prepared, or is there any capacity to develop more of a VIC group? And this is, what I'm doing is putting this to you as a group of people, because I've looked at, say, there's the VCA WA, Visitor Centre Association of WA. Now in WA, they pay to be accredited at the usual accreditation rates in WA, which is based on the size of the business. They pay a $240 premium on top of that to have their VIC accreditation. So they're paying in the vicinity of $600. And then they can pay another $770 to be a part of VCA WA, which is a membership fee plus a marketing fee. So you're talking serious dollars in the WA to be a VIC. In Queensland, you've got Quicker, the Queensland Industry Information Centres Association, which is a $75 membership fee, and they're a separate association. They manage their own funds. Victoria are in the same space. We are pretty much like the Victoria Tourism Industry Council, who do what we do. And then you have in New South Wales, they have the Aurora Research Group, which look after accredited businesses and accreditation, and they actually are approaching us all the time to come and do our VIC auditing. But to be a Category 1 or a Category 2 VIC, which the vast majority of you guys would fall in that category, you're paying $800 a year for your accreditation. So, in South Australia, we got the position where VICs individually, are paying for their accreditation, and there's, we have to start looking at how we're going to, if we want to develop seriously as a group of VICs, how we fund that. And, the quid pro quo with the discussion we have to have with the government then and the SATC is like that. We're paying to be part of a franchise, because what you're really doing with the LOI is you're a part of the franchise. You're meeting standards and you're paying a fee. So the quid pro quo of any franchise then is, what are you doing to market me? So now that we've got some, not that saying we didn't have before, but it's been a difficult period over the last few years because of the top management at the SATC getting their brains, getting into the tourism industry enough to work out what actually VICs actually are and the role that they have to play. And with Rodney Harrick's in place, I think we've got a CE with some tourism experience, certainly with marketing experience, and we need to embark on a project now to come up with a model that we think is acceptable to everybody, that VICs can start getting a bit of self-determination around. Because what I'd like to see is a group of VICs sitting around determining a business plan and a marketing plan, and you know, as a group, collective group. And I don't think it should be an incorporated association because there's so much bullshit associated with becoming an incorporated association. I can tell you firsthand that some sort of group would work. Now, at the moment we're half pregnant because we've got LSA going on with the SATC, there's a big training role, and then you've got SATIC sitting over here doing the accreditation, putting their hand up saying we'll manage the meeting. So what we need to do from this point forward is say, yep, are we coming up with, we need to come up with a model, and as VIC managers, I know you're sitting there going, I'm not going to, how can I go back to my powers that be and say we need to start working out a financial model for visitor information centres when we used to get paid to be one. So there's a huge turning around of the way things are. But he asked me, I was asked to speak about VICs nationally, and I can tell you the only states that, like Queensland and WA, that seem to have a functioning VIC management group has a premium that VICs pay for that group to exist. And whether we want to go down that road, or do we just keep doing what we're doing, or do we advocate for, you know, the SATC to do everything for us, or, you know, like, but I think those days are sort of beyond us now, and as a mature group of visitor information centres, I think we should be able to determine our own way forward. So, probably the next VIC managers meeting that we will hold will be a conversation around that and how we can build a self-determining VIC network and establish what the funding is, because, you know, practically operational brain gets on and says we have, for say, 40 VICs who are going to pay X amount of dollars. I go, how many paid hours is that for a secretariat? For somebody who can work X amount of hours per weekday, month, year on specific VIC issues. And I think that's where we need to get to as an association. Or as a group of people, and if you go to the SATC or the government and you say, we think you should pay that, and it's not, well, maybe we should do that ourselves. Not, we all need to go back to our masters, to our councils, to our whoever it is that we're governed by, and say, sell the benefits of that. So, in summation, my quick 10-minute talk, all I can say is I was asked to look at VICs nationally, and I can tell you that the ones that are functioning as proper, independent, self-determined bodies have come to the grips with the fact that they have to pay for that out of their own money. And you guys are in a very special position where you're not paying anything for your accreditation or a yellow eye, but at the same time, I'll put it to you as industry guy, you're not really getting a lot for that either, as far as separate marketing. So maybe the best model is pay, form a group, get some power, get some marketing, get some leverage, particularly in online space. That's all I can say, 10 minutes. But we've been going along like this for a long time. We have been going along like this for a long time, so it's about time we call a spade, sacred cows make the best hamburgers, all of that, and put it on the table and go, okay, we want to come up with a VIC management model here. How do we do that? And that could be representation. We could go back to saying, you know, Tracy represents the Riverland, or, you know, Tanya represents Florio, or however we want to do it anymore. But I think the next thing to do now is to put some sort of discussion paper together where we work out what sort of model we want to do. Thank you.